does look like something hit us. As shown in the last video that we did, our sliding glass window was broken while we were driving on the way to dinner on our third night in Louisiana. I didn't show earlier where this occurred, but in the photo here, you will see that we were stopped at the red light, we turned left, and then as we were just accelerating, we passed a line of trees and a house, and we heard a huge pop, and it just pow, and the glass started to break like crazy. When we looked back, we saw the tree line in the house. We didn't see anybody. Chuck slammed on the brakes, but then we decided it was best just to keep going and get somewhere to fix the window. We probably should have called the police, but we just didn't at the time. John Lafitte, National Historical Park and Preserve in Thibodaux. Hopefully we're gonna have, it's supposed to be really good and historical, so looking forward to our little tour today. Since the window was broken, we wanted to stay close to our boondocking spot. Robert at our boondocking place recommended this museum and the full hour tour after of the town. Everything was totally free, and it turned out to be a really great experience that we wouldn't have had our window not been broken.
In 1806, in fact, the first public cemetery was built in Europe, and that was in response to diseases that were getting into the water tables, lakes, and rivers from people being buried. People with diseases being buried, that being passed on through the water. And every other sentence you're going to hear water in Louisiana. I'm just realizing that. And also because lots of Europe is bedrock. So it's it's tough to dig down, and also you didn't want to dig down because of the disease level. So they brought off, most of this is Spanish and French architecture, grave, and they brought that here. And what happened, just like our Acadian homes, that architecture aided us, because it is true that, you know, if you have an old enough grave right now that hasn't been taken care of, maybe in a flood things will be unearthed. So what we do is make sure they're raised. The larger ones you're going to see, that's the more affluent people. He built the second and third stories, but if you notice the turret upstairs, that has the most interesting history. So Bayou across the street, 3 blocks down, that's the Bayou. So what this doctor would do was stand in his turret at night. There were candles in the windows of homes. He would know that someone needed a house visit. But also the ships that were coming in, steamboats and such, if they needed supplies or needed medical help or were delivering supplies, would fly certain colored flags. He'd stand out in his turret, and he was able to see this. And so that's how he would communicate. So, real interesting.
It was really hard to hear our guide here because of the road noise, but what she was discussing was the Arcadian style homes. They often had steep slope roofs, front porches, which were really huge for gathering after work and socializing. Since it was cool out, the front porch was where a lot of people stayed. They had good airflow, so they would put windows on both sides of their houses to allow the air to flow through. She even mentioned that a lot of times as they got wealthier, they would add on a kitchen in the rear and maybe a bathroom as well. The guide tour was really great, but we were starving, so we headed out for lunch real quick and then decided to come back later on after lunch to take another look through the town. The meat market wasn't much to look at, but the food was delicious, and it was great having a freezer so we could buy things to bring home. The boudin burritos were awesome. So this is the bayou behind the museum. We have birds. We're gonna have a standoff. I'm going around this way. No fishing here, but we met Robert this morning before we left our boondocking spot, and he actually has a cabin with on the bayou across the street from where we're staying, and they call it a wharf. That's what they call their docks. And so he was telling us about that. He said Chuck can fish off that, so we're gonna try to go down there later. Oh, look at the baby ducks. There's a lot of them. Wow. Got some current in here. You can't see fishies because it's too muddy. There's their guide down there talking to the guy in the boat. Is that a flatboat? Is that what Robert was calling a flatboat? Our tour earlier this morning, and she said that this is one of two banks. It's no longer a bank, obviously. It's a retail shop. But one of the two banks that founded the town of Thibodaux. And it made it like a big center because they had two banks. She's also talking about the moss in the trees and how the moss was used by Henry Ford to make the cars. He used it for insulation, but the big part is he wanted it shipped in the cypress boxes because the cypress boxes were then free, and he used the cypress boxes in the rest of the cars. Oh, so there's Freeman. Yeah. And that was kind of a cool story. And she was talking about how the moss is very self-sufficient because she was also a biologist. And it can grow in the trees and collect its own nutrients and its own moistures. And some trees it likes and some trees it doesn't. And you can't transfer it, moss, from one tree to another. For whatever reason. She said scientifically they don't know why. But you're not able to transfer it. It won't live. So that was interesting. She also said that in Louisiana you can have a crappy piece of property, but if you have live oak trees on it, then it could be worth a lot of money. Because she had a property and she has 4 oak trees on it, and she said the oak trees were super old and worth about $20,000 a piece. So that's all she thought her land would be worth, and didn't realize until she had it surveyed. And the appraisal came back talking about how it was worth a whole lot more because of the oak trees. And this is a really nice restaurant. The building next door fell down after Hurricane Ida, or shortly thereafter. And Freeman's is like an old school New Orleans style. Looks beautiful inside, but they're not open right now. They're gonna open up only for dinner, I think, through the weekends. And the chef we met this morning on our tour. But it's a cool building. Alright, so it's dinner time. We made it to Boudreaux and Thibodaux Cajun Cooking. They have all kinds of great food here, so we're super excited. And the parking lot's pretty empty. Of course, we take up 2 spaces. And but there's lots of parking, so at least we got here early though. We got a good spot. Yeah, our window sucks, but I just called in the claim. We're gonna try to, it seems like it's holding up pretty good. There are these great stories on the table. They're all different. I like the tables too because they have the Cajun. A cool alligator over there. Alright, we just got our crawfish kickers.
Oh.
What's the sauce?
They're creamy inside, that sounds good.
Ooh, creamy inside, that sounds good. Ooh, so I got the Boudreaux Thibodaux special. Chuck got a combination of another special. And then I got some potatoes on the side, and he got some sausage on the side. We haven't dove in yet, but the crawfish kickers were really good. Alright, so today is Friday, and we are going to be leaving this morning, but we spent 2 nights here in Bellaterra in Thibodaux.
and it's been a really nice place to stay. You can see the van between the trees there. If you look down the road, everything on the left is just empty lots that Robert's cleared off to allow RVers to stay here for free. And the owner, he's just super, super nice. There's somebody that just came yesterday in the next lot. His house is down at the end. He's got all kinds of stuff by the road. We have geese and chicken and 2 wild turkeys. I think I did a video of them earlier that were chasing us like all over the place, so it was kind of cool. He even has a donkey up there, and it loves people. Every time you go by and he sees you, he just goes ballistic. He just really loves people, but he won't let you touch him. As soon as we got close, he wanted to try to bite at you or duck away from you, but he just wants you to stand there. And he saw Robert's truck go by yesterday, and he just was so wild. He was just wanting attention so bad. At the very end across the street, Robert has a cabin and a wharf that he built out over the bayou a little bit. So we went down there yesterday. Couldn't see any fish because it's really dirty water here. But I think those are some workers that are coming that work for Robert. But we really love this little spot. Super, super duper quiet. Other than Chuck thought he heard a few geese one night, but I didn't hear anything. And lots of subdivisions and big houses on either side of us. But our van is filthy. Just because this is a gravel road and just driving around, it's been really dirty. Alright, so here we are at the famous Mr. Ronnie's Donuts. And we got some donuts. Hopefully they're good. They look delicious inside. Yeah, I did. It's like the intercoastal. We had a little drawbridge there. Or so we think. We are going through Houma. We tasted our donuts and they were really good. But the roads here are really crappy. But this one's a little better than the one we were on earlier. But overall, Louisiana is really bad roads. I'm hopeful that it doesn't get worse today, because it could probably get a lot worse. So we're on the road crossing from Houma, that's how they say it, so we were told, over to Cutoff, where we're going for lunch, and there's this huge fleet of boats over here on the left. And we just went through a section. I've never seen so many dead alligators in my whole entire life. One was 8 foot long. There's a whole bunch of other big ones. The one on the right was huge. Then there were some smaller ones. Something's on fire up there on the right. Hopefully it's a controlled burn. But it's really dark and black. You can see the bayou over here a little bit. There's still more boats over there. Yeah. Chuck wanted to fish, but oh, you could probably fish right there. Yeah. But like, there's so many dead alligators. You gotta find a clear spot to walk over to the water. This is our lunch stop. Share Amy's. They don't even open till 11, and the parking lot is already like super filling up. People are going inside, so you must be able to go in and get a seat. Here we go. I got the shrimp and grits because I haven't had those yet. Chuck got a shrimp po' boy with fries and gumbo. So I'm gonna have to have gumbo in a couple of days because I haven't had any gumbo yet. But we had a pistolette, which was just a little bun with crawfish on one and shrimp on the other, and this cream sauce, and it was amazing. Alright, so we're going along the bayou now. Our lunch was fabulous. At least those pistolettes, those were off the book. But we're going down by the bayou now. A lot of big commercial boats here. Shrimping boats and I don't know, what else? Just like all kinds of big boats. We don't even understand. Like how does that guy turn around in here? Like, it's not that wide. Hopefully we're gonna find some places to pull over and do some fishing, but but like Chuck said, there can't be a lot of tide here because the water is just almost at the same level as the road. And it's just amazing to me. These people build right on the ground and really close to this bayou. It just seems like it would flood. We do see a lot of blue roofs and hurricane damage. One church that was just totally destroyed back there a second ago. Drove out of town and getting into this like bayou-y like area. Looks like better fishing and everything's kind of destroyed here. It's really, really sad. But, oh, Chuck's gonna go try.
Yeah, let's go look at it.
Cast a rod and see what happens. But look how destroyed that is over there. I just can't imagine. The water's so low. You gotta think it would come up really high here. Alright, we stopped and fished on a couple of bridges and Chuck caught 2 or 3 trout. One was decent. Then it seems like the bite just kind of turned off. So we're now actually making our way into Grand Isle. There was like this big huge bridge we just had to cross to really get over here. On the other side, all the houses look totally devastated. Lots of lots for sale. But we have a couple of days to explore here. And hopefully we'll have the jambalaya, pastalaya cook-off tomorrow. And a fishing tournament. But it does look... And hopefully we have our campsite. We'll see when we get there. Ooh, that one is free. Alright, so we made it to Grand Isle to our campsite. It's just a little lot, and the owner came over, stayed about 45 minutes earlier, and he has rinsed out the other slots. We're sitting here for the first time. We got our rug out with our chairs and our folding table and the grill. And Chuck's grilling up some burgers. Looks good. The grill size is just perfect. So you can fit the buns and everything on there. We went to the store, got some voodoo chips and some Tuckies, and gonna enjoy a great dinner. The window's still holding up okay. So hopefully it stays that way for the rest of the trip. The beach is just like one street past the next street over to the left, and it looks like it's maybe one street past one street over to the right. So pretty good location, but Grand Isle is 7 miles long and 1 mile wide is what the owner was telling us. So it's pretty far to walk, so we're gonna have to do some driving in the van. So here we are. This is Saturday morning. We slept great last night. The place was...
Sorry my camera died. It's Saturday, we have a big day planned. Chuck is fishing, but we got up late. He didn't catch any fish today, but he went after dinner last night and caught a redfish. So we're gonna have that for dinner tonight, and my book, Nomadland, is great.
All right, good morning. It is Saturday, April the 30th, and Chuck and I are in Grand Isle. He went fishing this morning, but didn't catch anything. I think we got up kind of late to get there at 8 o'clock. Apparently the guy at the RV place got up at 5 o'clock. So anyway, it was fun. The beach was nice, but my camera battery was dead, so I didn't get to record a lot. This is the Hurricane Hole Marina Restaurant and Hotel in Grand Isle. We are parked across the street at the event parking. The past few days, apparently on Wednesday night they had this huge drone show that was really cool, but we missed that. So started after that, they had on Thursday, I guess, the fishing tournament started. And the boats have been out for, well, since Thursday night. I think at 10 o'clock they said. We got here on Friday night. The weigh-in will be later tonight and we'll come back for that. But today they had live music and a pastalaya jambalaya cook-off. I'd never had pastalaya, but instead of the rice in a jambalaya, they use pasta. And it was really good. So it was $10 and we had, I think, 9 entrants. But this marina was apparently pretty destroyed after Hurricane Ida back in September. So there's a little bar pool area. Those are some condos out there. They have a hotel here. Oh my gosh, we were so stuffed. We had so much pastalaya, jambalaya, and they're getting ready to announce the winner at 2 o'clock. And then I think we're gonna go back and hang out at our campground until later tonight, and then we'll come back and be here when the fish start to be weighed in. But it's a very, very awesome place. A nice bar in the back. You can see it, the old Blue Marlin bar. It's getting pretty hot right now. I sprayed my feet with suntan lotion, but they feel like they're starting to burn. I guess it took us probably an hour just to try all 9 of the foods that they had. But anyway, this fishing division, apparently there's 11 different places that they travel. Even go to Dominican Republic for one of the stops.
The tents ahead are the 9 participants in the Jambalaya Pastalaya cook-off. You'll see the big kettle pots, that's what they cook in. The people we wanted to win did not. The winner had white beans over his jambalaya, which we learned later is popular in this area, but we never heard of it before.
All right, we just got here and just missed the fish that they're taking down. Ooh, what's on the top? Weird. Well, another boat just came in. They got 6 sailfish on flags up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when they weigh in. This is part of Grand Isle. You'll see there's lots of destruction still. And trash, like I don't understand. Like they don't pick up the trash for some reason. We've just seen a lot of trash in Louisiana. I'm sure the damage was super, super bad, but it just still seems like there's a lot of destruction. This was last September when Hurricane Ida came through, and you can tell like those are different. The homes have poles that go all the way up. Some of them are strapped over the top, and some areas are worse than others. Like here, that house looks okay, but you can see everything's been wiped out over on the left. So it looked like there were places where the water came over a lot worse, and maybe it just totally washed all those out. But the Hurricane Ida, they said, was a Category 5 storm, and not a lot of the people are even here yet. Some have just started to move back from what the guy at the RV park told us, and a lot of them still are trying to figure out with insurance or money what they're gonna do. But the insurance prices are really high unless he said 16.3 off the ground in order to get any kind of reasonable insurance rate. So that's another problem that they're facing. Right, so here we are at Spars and Destin. This is the crawfish bread. Looks good. They have a nice little bar. The place was totally packed when we first got here. It's not quite as crowded right now. Crawfish bread was fabulous. We got a great parking spot right here along the road. It was like another motorhome. And the po' boy was okay. The gumbo was good. So yeah, pretty cool place in Destin. They actually have 3 locations in Louisiana. I made it to our next boondocking spot in Mississippi. Isn't this like a beautiful place? Feels very woodsy. Driving here on a lot of the back roads, it felt a lot like being in Tennessee on the back roads. She put a little red wagon out here so we would know where to turn in at. But their house is back there, and here we are in the front with this whole little area to ourselves. And super nice. The temperature feels really great. We did put on some bug spray because it felt kind of mosquito-y. But yeah, we'll be here tonight, and then tomorrow we head on to Chuck's sister's house in Gulf Breeze. Here Here we are at Floribama. It's funny, we tried to come here during COVID and everything was closed down. There's also one on this side of the street.
I think I got cast on the interstate.
Really? I don't remember it.
You're right.
Thank you. What are all these license plates? Alright, we were talking to the lady inside and she said there are 15 bars, but this is the original side. Hey, let's go upstairs first and see. I hear music somewhere. Can I see out?
Oh, maybe they are open.
I'm so turned around. I was thinking the other side was the Gulf side. This is the Gulf side. I know. Oh, it's nice. Super nice up here. Alright, let's go get a drink. Okay, so now we're upstairs at the main bar. It's a Tuesday at lunchtime or after lunch, so not a lot going on today. But a lot of memorabilia here. But they said this is the original bar. We went downstairs and all they're doing is playing bingo. Here we are. We stopped in Destin to visit some friends and they suggested Lulu's for lunch. And this is at the legendary marina. And it's Jimmy Buffett's sister's place. It looks like a cool place, so we're kind of excited. We're on the way to visit another friend in Port St. Joe. And we have some time to waste because it's not that far, so this is like perfect. Right on the water. It's like super nice. The bar out there. It's cool. Here we are at Mary's house. Look at the beach. Isn't it awesome?
The first time I did, I brought her onto the beach, Panama City Beach. I saw these other golf carts and the sand was thick. I came back out, do you think I could move? And I said, do you not have the sand tires? I said, no, I don't.
Oh, I didn't know you had to have
They
sand.
had to push me out of it.
Oh, no.
So, but on tight sand like that, you're fine. Now this is the walking trail or the biking trail, so we can go right to the end here.
Oh, great.
You see, look at some of these pools in the backyard. And from the higher level, they have the view or the sunset of these.
Oh, yeah. These are nice.
Yeah. So this is where you could walk up here tomorrow. But sometimes what I do is I walk all the way up here and then maybe walk back on the beach.
Uh-huh. Oh, I just love all these little walkways and the sand. Yeah. And
but you see, you can't take the golf carts on any of these. So for me, I'm nearly closer to the beach because I can take the golf. They have to, I mean, they either have to leave the golf cart at the end and walk all the way out through these things.
Yeah.
Or come down.
Here we are at our boondocking spot in Swanee River. It's absolutely beautiful. I have this great little deck area. Just watching the tide go by down the river. Wow, the clouds reflect a lot in the water. It's cool. We just had a big clap of thunder, but it looks like we got lucky. It's gone around us now. But it's just beautiful here.
We returned home to St. Petersburg the next day, and thankfully the duct tape held the window together. Next video will be lessons learned on our trip.